The Outlanders Journey. Tier 1, Level 1. Chapter 1. Errol, you're preparing to leave. A month has passed since your examination, and in the interim, the temple has undergone changes that can best be described as utter chaos. What should have been a smooth transition from your status as an acolyte to that of a missionary was turned over its head. No one expected Ark to receive the Everlight's blessings. Ancient creeds were consulted, factions were formed, daily prayers requesting guidance were performed, and what few resources were still available at the temple were cobbled together. You and Ark spent hours with High Priestess Vavina in her office, interrogated at every angle over what exactly happened that night. The truth is that both of your memories are hazy. You know you had both received a vision, but you don't recall what happened. All you know is that Ark can summon holy fire at will now, and you cannot. Eventually, the High Priestess did reach a verdict, that the scriptures were written in an intentionally, portentously vague language in regards to this situation. Only the chosen and a candidate demonstrating mastery of the 92 forms of reclamation and the rituals of remedy may represent the Everlight in the Temple of Salvation during their missionary. It was originally believed that the candidate and the chosen would be the same person, but as a result of this reinterpretation, High Priestess Vavina decided that having you and Ark embark on this journey together is, in fact, lawful. The Everlight works in mysterious ways. This is an opportunity for both of you to learn and grow with one another. Perhaps in seeing your bond, the Everlight offered both of you the gift so that you may remain together. Ark has been ecstatic, with a lightness in his step. He takes every opportunity to bring up the fact that he's traveling with you, musing on the people you'll meet out there and what kind of heroic acts the two of you will perform together. There was not enough time to forge another holy symbol for Ark, and so he was given instead an artifact of a former high priest, a metal shield engraved with the symbol of the Everlight. Not even you thought yourself worthy of wielding it. During this month, you've been putting Ark through an absurdly accelerated course, training skills that you spent 20 years mastering. You've had to shift your focus away from the physical forms in favor of spellcasting, as that seems to be his primary blessing. Remarkably, he's been able to transform your long-form prayers into instantaneous magical incantations. In less than a day, he picked up the Cure Wounds spell, and he immediately fixed up most of the remaining injuries in his arms and legs. His wing, though, has remained damaged, confirming to you that even had you gotten the ointment, it wouldn't have fixed him. It might really be permanently broken, but he's taking everything in stride. You should be proud of him, and you are. You really are. And it's better this way. It is. Now that the two of you are journeying together, you won't be all alone out there, forced to interact with complete strangers. It's a relief, really. This is good. This is all good. Perhaps all of this was fate, that you would bring Ark here for him to discover his new destiny. Didn't you say you wanted him to form a connection with the Everlight? You've been granted exactly this wish, haven't you? Even if it raises the question of what this means for you, you must have failed. You must have proven yourself unworthy. After everything you've worked for, you're still missing some fundamental quality that Ark possesses innately. The Everlight sees both of your hearts for what they truly are, which means he is, existentially, objectively, cosmically, better than you. Faster than you can grapple with these thoughts, though, the 8th month arrives, and it's time to leave. The air has turned chilly, and the first winds of the quickly approaching winter are here too. You stand in the center of the courtyard, the spot where you demonstrated your forms to the acolytes a month ago. You take in the fresh mountain air, watching your breath expelled as foggy wisps. You'll be traveling through dry grasslands soon, and you may one day forget the scent of home. You spot Ark on the 2nd floor of a guest building, scurrying across the hallway, carrying all of his packed supplies. In his missionary attire, there is a certain regalness to his appearance, the leather armor, the flowing golden cloak, the shield on his back, and the quarterstaff in his hand. Your travel clothes, though more plain than your usual acolyte garbs, are still accentuated with red and gold, intended to be recognizable from a distance so that anyone can identify you as someone who provides aid. You tie a gold sash around your waist, and you adjust your tight-fitting maroon pants, which allow you to move swiftly if needed. Your top, by contrast, is loose though padded with layers of deer hide and goose feathers to keep you warm. Strapped to the side of your head is the mask you donned during your exam, the golden visage with the carved symbol of the Everlight. One day, when you're truly worthy, you'll finally pull it down to cover your face. You feel a familiar tap on your shoulder from behind. You turn to find High Priestess Vavina, arms open for a hug. "Make sure to write me as soon as you arrive in Eli," she says. The morning sunlight illuminates her golden robes. You bend forward and pull her in tight. I will try to write to you as much as I can." "Thank you, my dear." She caresses your face. "There are many people you will meet, many life experiences that will shape who you become. But do not let your principles waver." "I will do my best." "I know you will. You always have." She goes in for another embrace, combing her fingers through your hair, letting out a slow exhale. As she pulls away, she reaches under her robes. "As promised, my dear, I have something for you." And she pulls out a sheathed scimitar with a polished ruby engraved on the pommel. You know this to be the one and only scimitar of the champion, which has, for the last century, been encased in glass, preserved only for the next chosen to wield. She draws the blade, which is shimmering in the sunlight, appearing recently sharpened. "Take this, in place of your current sword." "High Priestess Vavina," you say. "Do you remember?" she says. "You were only 4, and you noticed this artifact in my office. I had taken it down for cleaning, and you waddled over to touch it. I didn't let you, of course, but as soon as I turned my back to you, you started climbing up my desk to get to it. You were a mischievous little thing back then, a precocious child." She hands it to you. I don't think I've earned the right to wield this." The High Priestess shakes her head. "I have dreamed of the day that I pass this on to you. Please, take it with you. Use it to protect yourself and Brother Ark. Look to it as a representation of the Everlight's name." She wipes her eyes, blinking rapidly. You bow, extending your arms to accept the gift. You feel its heft as it is placed in your hands, much sturdier than the sword you've trained with for years. "I promise," you say, still bowing, "that I will honor your name and the Everlight's name. I will not sully this weapon." You grip the hilt, pointing the blade down. High Priestess Vavina cups her hands around yours, squeezing tightly. "I know you will, my dear. I do not need to hear such reassurances. All I ask is for you to remember to stay safe. Dress warmly. It will be winter soon." "I will." You've left the temple before, but never for longer than a few days. An indefinite journey for the purpose of finding purpose itself is, despite your lifelong preparation, unfathomable. How long will it be before you see High Priestess Vavina again? The temple, the other acolytes, the courtyard, your room. Will you do right by the only place that took you in? You hear Ark rushing behind you. "I'm here," he says, grabbing your shoulder as he catches his breath. "Sorry I'm late." His wing still droops down, and his backpack dangles precariously over his shoulder. "Brother Ark," says High Priestess Vavina, turning to him. She takes him by the hands. "I know we have not met for long, but Sister Errol has spoken very highly of you for many years. Your friendship will lead you to even greater achievements. If you have trouble with any of our rituals or prayers, look to Sister Errol for guidance, but the Everlight is always with you. Find yourself through her as well. You two are now our representatives. This responsibility is for both of you to carry." "I understand," says Ark. The two hug in a stiff, cordial manner. The three of you head into the temple one last time. High Priestess Vavina pushes open the double doors. All of the other acolytes are there, lined up along the walls below the grand paintings, each one lifting up a candle over their heads. The High Priestess leads you through the garden, across the bridge, and to the altar. The display case is now empty of the scimitar. She kneels on the central mat, bowing her head before the great figure of the Everlight. You and Ark kneel to either side of her and bow together. "Our Everlight, our great Redeemer," she says. "We send forth Brother Ark and Sister Errol, your new representatives, to travel across the lands in search of those in need. In your name, they shall perform great miracles, bring peace, and discover their own enlightenment. We seek your continued guidance, wisdom, and protection. In your name, we shall work and perform great miracles, bring peace, and discover our own enlightenment," you and Ark repeat, eyes closed. "We seek your continued guidance, wisdom, and protection." You sense a warmth crowning your head, so subtle that perhaps you're imagining things. You hold your breath, closing your hands into fists. Deep down, you know, and you know that everyone else knows, that only Ark was chosen. You're only here on a technicality, by the lax rulings of a high priestess who favors you. High Priestess Vavina's prayer ends, and the three of you rise again in unison. You turn in sync, approaching the exit again. Following behind, the acolytes follow you in succession, marching abreast silently. Right behind you, you hear a voice whisper, "Good luck." It's from Sister Diaris. Ark twists around, his eyes twinkling, giving her 2 thumbs up. He's trembling with an almost childlike giddiness. Slowly, you march outside, past the courtyard, to the golden gates leading to the forest of the INA. They are usually left open during the day to allow guests inside, but for this farewell ceremony they have been temporarily closed. Engraved upon the door are various bas-relief sculptures of the Everlight. Words of prayers and rituals are also carved along the edges in celestial. Everything here was built hundreds of years ago by the former champion of the Everlight, whose sword you now carry. High Priestess Vavina raises an arm, and on cue, the gates begin to creak open with a mechanical clacking. A gust of wind rushes in, and the frigid air hits your face, sending a chill down your spine. Outside, the atmosphere feels dense and full. The High Priestess steps to the side and motions for the 2 of you. Ark's arm brushes against you, and you look down to see him extending his hand toward you. You touch your fingers to his, and he hooks his talon around your pinky. There's a steadiness in his hold. He's no longer shaking with excitement, and you realize that he's more prepared for this journey than you are. He really is the chosen. "Don't worry. I'm with you," he whispers. "I know," you say. You two share a glance and take a simultaneous step forward, then another, and you cross through the gates. You behold the vibrant autumn colors of the forest ahead, the wide, well-paved road winding westward. A carriage rushes past you, pulled by a set of spectral horses. You look over your shoulder one last time. The acolytes raise their candles as the breeze extinguishes the flames. High Priestess Vavina stands in the center, waving with both arms, openly weeping. Raised by this temple for 21 years, you can see everyone's hopes and expectations, and you know you can't return until you become someone new, someone you have no capability of ever becoming.